is of international concern. The British government, as I expect you know, maintains tight controls over the export of arms from this country for both humanitarian as well as political reasons. Now, in April of this year, the two accused succeeded in circumventing these controls and procured a large shipment of arms, including mortars, machine guns, grenades, shells, and 5,000 of the new P50 rifle manufactured by Universal Arms Limited of Fulchester. Now, this shipment, valued at £3.5 million, was then exported by the two accused to the Lebanon under the pretense that it was destined for the South American Republic of El Salvador. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will hear...
Elias Daniel Kamal, a Lebanese businessman, and Peter Fischer, a UK citizen, are charged with conspiring unlawfully to export a shipment of arms. They've both pleaded not guilty. The jury in this trial has been selected from members of the public whose names appeared on the electoral register and who are eligible for jury service. The prosecution have just called their first witness.
Take the Holy Quran in your right hand, read aloud the words on the card.
I take this oath on the Quran, believing in the Quran as God's true word, believing in the true God above us, and that whatsoever I tell this court will be the truth.
Dr. Sharaf, what is your full name?
Samia Sharaf.
And you are a Lebanese citizen at present residing in London.
Ms. Danuri, before you proceed with this witness, I want to comment on activities that are taking place outside this courtroom and on reports in the press that there are plans to disrupt these proceedings. I wish it to be known that special steps have been taken to ensure that any such disruption will be promptly dealt with. Thank you, Mr.
My Lord. Dr. Sharaf, I believe you took a degree in medicine at the American University in Beirut, and that you subsequently took a postgraduate course in obstetrics at St. Thomas's Hospital in London, and then you returned to the Lebanon, where you've been practicing for several years.
Yes, that is so.
Now, in the 18 months leading up to August 1976, were you able to pursue your practice in the normal manner?
No. I was concerned entirely with the treatment of casualties caused by the fighting.
You are referring to the fighting that's been going on in Beirut and elsewhere in the Lebanon?
Yes.
I imagine you were working under somewhat difficult conditions, Doctor.
I was working 20 hours a day. I have seen wholesale massacres. Often I would have to carry out quite serious operations without anesthetics because street fighting prevented supplies from reaching us. Even after I completed an operation successfully, the casualties stood a very good chance of dying from blood poisoning. Yes, my lord, conditions were somewhat difficult.
Dr. Sharaf, in this war between the Muslims and the Christian phalangists, were you attached to any particular faction?
Attached? No. I was physically with Muslims, but I wasn't on any particular side, if that is what you mean.
You mean you were not politically sympathetic to either side? You were simply doing your duty as a doctor?
Yes. I do not think it is important who is fighting whom. It certainly doesn't matter in a battlefield hospital. What is important, and is the reason why I'm here, is that a small country is being torn apart by this war. That friend is fighting friend, cousin is fighting cousin, that a certain evil men are profiting from the death throes of my people.
Dr. Sharaf, did something happen on the 10th of August whilst you were in Beirut?
Yes, there was a ceasefire. We have had over 50 ceasefires in this war. You can understand the cynicism we felt on such occasions. But these ceasefires were useful because the people could at least replenish their water supplies and get in enough food to withstand the next wave of fighting.
And whereabouts in Beirut were you on that day?
We were using a school near the Mishka Square as a field hospital.
Yes. And what happened?
Just before the ceasefire, a number of phalangists were successful in capturing an apartment block for a time. After the enemy had been driven out by heavy mortar fire, I went in to see if anyone was still alive.
And what did you find when you entered the building?
On the 3rd floor, there was a family who had obviously been unable to get to the basement because of the intensity of the shelling. The mother and 4 children had died from burns. A phosphorus shell had obviously caused this. On the top floor, I found 6 of the phalanges, all of whom were dead. The floor had been hit by a high-explosive missile. I noticed the weapons these men were carrying. These were unusual.
What was unusual about them?
Well, mostly the phalangists were using the American M16 rifle. The other side, the Muslims and guerrillas used the Russian Kalashnikov rifles. But these men had a rifle that I had never seen before.
You used the word had. You mean the rifles were lying by their side, so you inferred that the rifles had been in their possession?
No, one of them still had a rifle in his hand.
Oh, I see. Thank you. Please go on.
When I examined these rifles, I discovered to my surprise that they were British. They had the words Universal Arms Limited punched into their stocks. I made a note of all the numbers on the rifles.
But, Sheriff, did you simply take a note of the numbers of the rifles?
No, I picked up 2 of them and took them back to the school.
And 4 days later, you yourself were wounded by a hand grenade, I believe?
Yes.
And the wounds which you suffered required that you should be brought back to London for specialist treatment. Now, did you leave the rifles in Beirut?
No, I brought them with me.
How did you manage that?
They were concealed on my stretcher.
May the doctor be shown one of the rifles, please? Dr. Sharaf, is that one of the rifles that you brought back from Beirut?
Yes, it is.
Dr. Sharaf, would you please explain to this court the reason why you brought those rifles back to this country?
I saw in these rifles yet another escalation of the war. We had never seen British arms before. I could not believe that the British government would allow this to happen. I felt it my duty to expose to the world these people who were taking advantage of a war to make profits for their shareholders and themselves.
Thank you, Dr. Sharaf.
Yes, you took 2 rifles away from that top floor apartment.
Yes.
It's a curious thing for a doctor to do.
I have already explained why.
Well, doctor, describe what you saw in that room.
I have said there were 6 dead men in that room.
Yes, you testified that these rifles were in the hands of Christian phalangists.
Yes, that is so.
I am right in saying, am I not, that there are no uniforms in the Lebanon amongst the various combatants, except for those worn by the regular Lebanese army units and the Syrian and Iraqi forces?
That is so.
Then how do you distinguish a dead phalangist from a dead Muslim?
The phalanges wear crucifixes around their necks.
And they, to you, were the enemy?
No!
Well, I quote your evidence in chief, Doctor. You say, after the enemy had been driven out.
They were the enemies of the Muslim forces.
That this was a war between the Christians on the one side and the Muslims on the other. And you are a Muslim.
That is a dangerous simplification. The war was wished upon my country by a number of different groups, each of different ideology and aspiration. There were phalangists on the Christian side who also represented the wealthy minority. There were fanatical Muslim groups, Palestinian guerrillas, and a number of unwelcome outsiders from neighboring countries. But there are many thousands of innocent people who are not concerned with ideology. They are the victims. I am a doctor. It takes only a few days of any battle or war for a doctor to forget who is fighting whom.
But once the war had started, you were on the Muslim side.
I was concerned with saving life. You must remember I was dealing with something like 50 or 60 cases a day. It didn't matter to me if the child just brought into my field hospital with both his legs blown off was a Christian or a Muslim. My concern was whether his legs had been blown off by an American 80mm mortar shell or a Russian fragmentation grenade. These weapons leave different kinds of splinters in the remainder of the body, you see, requiring different treatment. When it comes to choosing a victim, these weapons are entirely impartial.
Dr. Sharaf, what are your views on Zionism?
Oh, I subscribe to the view held by every Arab that the Israelis are occupying unlawfully ground which rightfully belongs to the Palestinian people.
I see. So you're not as politically neutral as you would have us believe. You do subscribe, then, to the policy of the Palestine Liberation Organization.
I subscribe to their aims. I do not like their methods.
Dr. Sharaf, you say you yourself were wounded and brought these rifles to Britain.
Yes.
And you were flown to London. You concealed these rifles in your stretcher. How were they concealed?
Under the blankets.
Just under the blankets, and they weren't found?
No. They didn't search properly, I suppose, because I was sick.
Were these rifles given to you when you arrived in this country?
I don't quite follow.
Dr. Sharaf, I'm asking whether the Palestine Liberation Organization or some such Muslim organization provided you with these rifles after you had come to Britain.
No!
Or perhaps gave them to you in Beirut and helped you to smuggle them.
The only assistance I had came from the doctors in this country who were treating me, who were equally anxious to discover how these rifles were exported from Britain, who had always claimed to be entirely neutral to the conflict in the Lebanon.
Yes, Dr. Sharaf, you see, you must understand my client's position. As far as he knows, this consignment of arms, which he was concerned with, were going to El Salvador. Well, now you come along and say they went to the Lebanon. Well, naturally, he's surprised. Naturally, he questions whether this is not just some plot by the PLO to embarrass the British government.
I am not here to make propaganda. I'm representing no organization. I do represent, however, thousands of maimed people, men, women, and children, who did not choose to be maimed and did not choose to take part in this Holocaust.
I've no questions, my lord.
I to God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Mr. Matteson, you are an inspector at the investigation branch of the Department of Trade and Industry, is that right?
That is correct.
And your particular field is the investigation of arms dealing and the clarification of applications for export licenses.
That is so, yes.
Now, the export of arms from Great Britain is prohibited, except with a license from the government.
Yes, ma'am. It is broad government policy that weapons can only go to other governments. A license for export would not be issued if it was thought that the equipment might endanger the British government and its allies. Furthermore, a license would not be issued if it was thought that the arms might be used for aggressive purposes.
Which body decides whether or not a license should be issued?
The application for a license is made to the Department of Trade and Industry. The application is then vetted by a consultative committee, which includes representatives of the Foreign Office, the Ministry of Defence, and my own department. The committee follows the guidelines I've already mentioned.
Now, in February 1976, did your department receive an application for a license to export some arms to El Salvador?
Yes, ma'am.
From whom?
Universal Arms Limited of Fulchester.
What evidence was produced that the arms were destined for El Salvador?
The principal evidence was a letter which accompanied the application from the ambassador of El Salvador in London.
May the witness be shown Exhibit 4. Now, are those two documents the application and the letter that you have just mentioned?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you read the letter, please, Mr. Matteson?
It's written on the note paper of the El Salvador Embassy, and it states, "To whom this may concern, the government of El Salvador has duly appointed Transatlantic Arms Incorporated of 114 Main Street, Reno, Nevada, USA, as its sole agent for the purchase of arms in the following quantities. Rifles P50, 5,000. Ammunition for same, 100,000 rounds. Mortar, 80mm, 300 rounds.
The important thing, I take it, Mr. Matteson, is the undertaking.
Yes, my lord. My government undertakes that these weapons will be used exclusively for purposes of defence within the Republic of El Salvador, and that they will be used by the armed forces of El Salvador only. They will not be offered for re-export at any time. It is signed by the ambassador and carries the El Salvador seal."
Now, this type of letter is what is known in the trade as an end-user certificate, is it not?
Yes, ma'am.
We now know, of course, and as I understand it, my learned friends Mr. Logan and Mr. Banham do not dispute, that this letter did not emanate from the embassy of El Salvador at all. It is, in fact, a forgery.
Yes, ma'am.
What steps exactly did you take to establish the veracity of this document, Mr. Madison?
I had no reason to doubt its authenticity, my lord.
That was not the question, Mr. Madison. Did you take any steps at all to establish its authenticity?
Well, I checked the signature against the ambassador's known signature. The seal is genuine. It's not considered to be very good diplomacy or indeed protocol to approach an ambassador on matters of this sort so directly. The embassy seal is generally considered to be completely adequate.
I see. Miss Dunwoody?
My lord. So there is nothing unusual in the fact that a Nevada-registered company ordered these arms?
No, it's perfectly usual practice. The government may appoint any agency in any one of many countries.
Now, did you submit the application to the committee, and did the committee approve it?
Oh, yes. The relationships between the British government and the El Salvador government are excellent. There seemed to be no reason to withhold the license.
Now, would the export of this consignment of arms have been approved if it had been known it was destined for the Lebanon?
No. The Middle East is particularly sensitive. The British government's policy in that direction is to keep a very careful balance between either hostile or potentially hostile governments.
Now, in August 1976, as a result of information received, did you go to Heathrow Airport, and did you there see somebody?
Yes, Dr. Sharaf was in customs, and I was shown these two P-50 rifles.
And did you then make various inquiries?
Yes, ma'am.
And subsequently, on the 9th of October this year, did you see the defendant, Mr. Kamal, at Heathrow Airport, where he had been detained by immigration officers?
Yes, ma'am. Accompanied by some officers from my department, I went to see Kamal at an interview room at Heathrow. I said to him that I understood that he was a director of a company in Nevada called Transatlantic Arms Incorporated. He said that he was. I then asked him if he had purchased a consignment of arms from Universal Arms Limited. He said that he had. I then said I had reason to believe that these arms had gone to Lebanon.
And did he reply?
Yes, ma'am. He said, where else?
Was he then arrested and cautioned?
Yes, ma'am.
And did he subsequently elect to make a written statement, and do you now produce this statement? It's Exhibit 5, my lord.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you read it, please, Mr. Mattison?
My name is Ilyas Daniel Kamal. I'm a Lebanese citizen, and I'm an active member of the Phalangist movement. Earlier this year, I came to England in search of certain particular weapons. I have been briefed by my superiors in the Lebanon to make contact with a certain arms dealer, Peter Fischer, and I did so in March of this year by appointment at Blade's Hotel in London. I gave him a list of the weapons which we required. Fischer said there would be no difficulties as long as there was a cover story to satisfy the British government, and he could arrange all that. Later, he gave me a letter which purported to come from the embassy of El Salvador, and I handed it to Mr. Cunningham of Universal Arms Limited, from whom I bought the weapons.
Miss Dunwoody, I take it that Mr. Cunningham will be giving evidence?
Oh, yes, my lord.
Very well, thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Madison.
I was under the impression from Cunningham that this deal had the tacit approval of the British government. This was the impression given to me throughout by Fischer, whom I thought to be a reputable dealer, and who had told me that the government would be prepared to turn a blind eye because they were generally sympathetic to any cause which was likely to put down the Palestine liberation movement.
Mr. Madison, did you say anything to Mr. Kamal about the impression he claimed to be given that the British government would turn a blind eye to arms smuggling?
Yes. I said I didn't know how he conducted business in his country, but he would be insane if he thought that we operated that way over here.
And what did Mr. Kamal have to say to that?
He said he thought the whole world was insane.
Is that all?
Oh, no, my lord. He said that his government had experience of how the British had operated over the last 70 years.
Oh, did he? And did he elaborate on that?
No, my lord.
I see, very well. Thank you.
My lord. Now, after you had seen Mr. Kamal, did you then go and see Mr. Fischer?
Yes, the following day. Accompanied by another officer, I went to see Mr. Fischer at Blade's Hotel in London. I confronted him with Kamal's statement, and he said as far as he knew, the consignment went to El Salvador as a perfectly legitimate deal.
And did you ask him about the forged end-user certificate?
Yes, he said Kamal had presented it to him, and he took it at its face value.
So Kamal claimed that Fischer had produced the forged end-user certificate, and Fischer claimed Kamal had.
Yes, my lord.
Mm-hmm.
So what Mr. Fischer was saying was that all he had done was make the introduction to Mr. Cunningham of Universal Arms Limited.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Madison. Would you please wait there?
Yes, Mr. Matteson, have you caused inquiries to be made in the United States about Transatlantic Arms Incorporated?
I have.
And to the best of your knowledge, the information you received indicates that it is a legitimate trading company.
Well, it exists.
Well, put it this way, you're not suggesting my client should have suspected there was anything sinister about this company?
Oh, no, sir.
There is no crime committed, Mr. Merrison, in making an introduction.
That is not for me to decide.
No, come now, Mr. Matteson. My client simply introduced the buyer to a seller. Is that a criminal offence?
The way you put it, no.
It's a perfectly normal trading practice.
In most cases, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Merrison.
Were you personally responsible for making the necessary inquiries into the validity of the application, Mr. Matteson, the application for the license for this consignment of arms?
That is so.
Yes, how do you describe them, these inquiries?
Well, we are required to make stringent inquiries.
Stringent. Well, I suggest that you didn't make stringent inquiries. I suggest that you knew from the very beginning where these arms were going.
Well, that's nonsense. I had no reason to disbelieve the letter as it was produced.
No? The British government doesn't like the Palestinian Liberation Army, does it?
I'm in no position to answer that question.
No, but it would be reasonable to assume that the policy of Her Majesty's government was discussed at the committee meeting when the application for these arms to be sold to El Salvador was considered.
That committee meeting was held in considerable secrecy. I'm not in a position to reveal what was said.
I see. All right. But you were personally responsible for making the necessary stringent inquiries.
Yes.
And a report on the result of those necessary stringent inquiries would have been presented for the consideration of those people present at the meeting.
Yes.
And the decision of that meeting was that authority should be given for the sale of arms to the Republic of El Salvador.
Yes.
5,000 rifles, Mr. Matteson.
That is the quantity.
Yes. Well, could you enlighten me, perhaps? What's the size of the El Salvador army exactly?
I'd need to look that up.
Will you? Well, the Statesman's Yearbook, published annually by Macmillan and Company, it's an excellent reference book. I do recommend it. It gives the size of the El Salvador army as 4,000 men. And it's 4,000 to 5,000. That's one and a quarter rifles for every soldier, isn't it?
There are other armed services, I believe.
What, you believe? What do you mean you believe? You made stringent inquiries, remember? Don't you know?
My inquiries were made some time ago. I'd have to check the reasons.
Yes, well, I put it to you, Mr. Madison, that you didn't make the necessary stringent inquiries that you said you did, and this failure on your part could only result in the committee acting on behalf of Her Majesty's government, turning a blind eye, so to speak, to the export of arms to the Lebanon.
You are mistaken. The inquiries were made. There's absolutely no reason to doubt the fact that this consignment of arms was destined for El Salvador.
The cases in Fulchester are fictitious. The Queen against Kamal and Fischer will be resumed tomorrow in the Crown Court.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are Roger Cunningham, OBE,
I am?
and you live at the Old Mill, Shepperton, near Fulchester.
Yes,
And you are Managing Director of Universal Arms Limited of Fulchester.
that's right.
And has your company been established for over 200 years, Mr. Cunningham? And does it export approximately £150 million worth of arms under licence to various countries each year?
That is correct.
Peter Fischer and Elias Kamal have been charged with conspiring to export arms illegally from Britain. They've both pleaded not guilty. The jury in this trial has been selected from members of the public, whose names appear on the electoral register and who are eligible for jury service. The trial has just entered the second day, and Mr. Roger Cunningham, Managing Director of Universal Arms, has just started to give evidence.
Now, in April of this year, were you visited by the defendants, Mr. Kamal and Mr. Fischer?
Yes, they came to see me in my office.
How did this meeting take place?
I received a telephone call from Mr. Fischer. He said that he had a substantial arms order and wanted to bring the buyer to meet me.
And you had met Mr. Fischer before?
Vaguely. We'd met at one or two conferences in London.
And had you done business with him?
To the best of my knowledge, no, my lord.
Could you please be more precise, Mr. Cunningham? Had you done business with the defendant Fischer?
Well, as I say, my lord, I can't be sure. Personally, no. Though we may well have done business through one of my sales managers.
I see.
To return to Mr. Fischer's phone call, did he say how much money was involved?
He said it could well run into millions of pounds.
And was the question of commission raised at that point?
Yes.
And a commission was agreed between you and Mr. Fischer?
Yes.
And that is normal practice?
Yes, it's not one of which we particularly approve. We feel that sales should be made through our own sales department and regular agents. However, there's no reason why somebody who introduces business to us shouldn't receive the commission. And it was agreed that I should pay him a letter of protection in the sum of 5% of the total order. And a letter to that effect was sent to him by first-class mail that day.
And it arrived the following morning?
Yes, Mr. Fischer had it with him when he arrived with Mr. Kamal.
You mean the letter was delivered the following morning by the regular post?
Yes, my lord.
Extraordinary.
On the following morning, indeed, Mr. Kamal and Mr. Fischer arrived at your office.
That is the case.
And that was April the 7th.
Yes.
And then the defendant Kamal told you about his order and gave you a list of specific items.
Correct.
Did he say why he was particularly anxious to obtain the P50 rifle?
He merely said that his buyers were anxious to have the best. And the P50 is the most up-to-date and powerful rifle for its price in the world.
May I just examine one of these rifles, please?
Of course, my lord. Would you please hand Exhibit 2 to my lordship?
Thank you. What's so special about this rifle, Mr. Cunningham?
Well, it has a particularly high penetration value, my lord. It can get through a concrete wall with ease.
I see. What's this?
Now, that's an infrared sight. It can pick up the warmth of a human body at 200 to 300 yards. It's particularly valuable if you're dealing with an enemy who's attacking you from an area of darkness.
And particularly useful in the sort of fighting that was going on in the Lebanon at that time, I suppose.
Oh, yes. The rifle also has the capacity to fire 30 rounds a second in what we call a burst configuration. And as a long-distance target rifle, it has no equal anywhere in the world.
I see. Thank you, Mr. Cunningham.
Now, Mr. Kamal said that he was acting for his company, which was Transatlantic Arms Incorporated of Nevada, USA.
That is the case.
And that they were buying on behalf of the government of El Salvador.
Yes.
And he then produced the end-user certificate signed by the ambassador of El Salvador.
A normal end-user certificate, yes.
And you were satisfied that this was a legitimate request for arms. It was indeed a very good export order for your company.
Yes, it seemed to me that the order came from a legitimate government, and the end-user certificate guaranteed that any conditions imposed by the Department of Trade had been satisfied. We then filled in Form P906, which is the application for an export license.
And this license was duly delivered at your office?
A week later.
And the arms were duly packed into a container and dispatched?
That is the case.
If my lordship has finished.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, Miss Dunwoody. You know, the last rifle I handled was, I believe, a Lee Enfield, first introduced as long ago as 1916. Quite a difference since then, eh?
The end result is similar, my lord. Usher, would you please hand the rifle to the witness? Now, Mr. Cunningham, is that a P50 rifle manufactured by your company?
It is.
And the serial number on that rifle, Mr. Cunningham, what is it, please?
UA 292 AP 29201.
Thank you. Now, would you also please identify this piece of paper, Mr. Cunningham? Oh, thank you very much. It is a bill of lading dated the 22nd of April, 1976, by your company. Do you see the same serial number on that, Mr. Cunningham? You have a copy, my lord. It's Exhibit 6.
Yes, the number's here. It's one of a consecutive group of rifle serial numbers which form part of the consignment referred to in this case.
Thank you. Now, one last matter, Mr. Cunningham. What was the value of this order?
£3.5 million.
And Mr. Fischer was paid his commission?
Yes, we sent a cheque to a company in the Isle of Man at his request.
A cheque for how much?
£175,000.
Which was the agreed commission of 5%.
Yes.
What you might call easy money, eh?
Perhaps, my lord.
Thank you, my lord. Mr. Cunningham.
Now, Mr. Cunningham, the impression may have been given by previous witnesses in this court that we're talking about gun running. Now, I would like to establish clearly, certainly from my client's point of view, that this was indeed an export order.
That is correct.
And let's face it, Mr. Cunningham, there's nothing dishonourable about that, is there?
Certainly not.
Indeed, the biggest exporter of arms in this country may be the government itself, through companies which it owns, such as Short Brothers, Ferranti, Leylands, and if certain legislation goes through the Commons, the British Aircraft Corporation, Hawker Siddeley, and Vosper Thornycroft.
Unfortunately, yes.
That's your political view, is it?
Well, I'm opposed to the nationalisation of the aircraft and shipbuilding industries, yes.
Yes. Now, the Department of Trade and the Ministry of Defence are hoping for export figures of £700 million this year.
That is the case, I believe.
And the Americans export £5,000 million worth of arms annually.
Yes.
And the Russians £2,500 million.
Yes.
So it would be fair to say, would it not, that the British arms industry does an honourable trade, and it is in fact vital in this country, which is trying to maintain the balance of payments.
Most certainly.
And it also creates employment.
Yes, at least 80,000 jobs.
You have no reservations about your role in this valuable export industry.
None whatever.
And I'm sure you'll agree that my client, who contributed towards what he regards as an important export order, should also feel no reservations at all.
Well, that's not for me to say.
Mr. Cunningham, this commission of 5% seems to be more than generous. Is this normal?
Well, no, my lord, it was an exceptionally high commission. It was a surprise order, you see. We did have a lot of these weapons in stock, and it seemed to me better to pay a high commission than to leave them sitting on the shelves.
I see, thank you. Yes?
Thank you, Mr. Cunningham.
Thank you.
Mr. Cunningham, forgive my cold. As an exporter, I think it's fair to say that you welcomed Mr. Kamal and his proposed order with open arms.
Well, we were glad he came to us.
Yes, and you greeted him in your office and you talked for, 20 minutes?
That's about right, yes.
And then you went to the White Horse in Fulchester and you had a few drinks.
Yes, that's perfectly normal with any buyer.
Yeah. Especially a buyer to the tune of £3.5 million.
Yes.
Yes, and then you had a long and apparently convivial lunch.
Yes.
Yes. Now, and over that lunch, Mr. Cunningham, my client made it abundantly clear to you that he was a Lebanese citizen, that he'd recently been fighting in the Lebanon, and he left you in no doubt at all that these arms he was buying from you were destined for the Lebanon.
No, that was not the case. I was left with the impression that he was buying these arms for an American company and that they were bound for El Salvador.
So you did sit at the same table at the White Horse Grill, did you?
Oh, yes.
Good. Well, we've established that as a fact, at least. Now, let's see what else we can remember about that lunch, Mr. Cunningham. Perhaps this will refresh your memory. Now, I've ascertained that this menu hasn't changed since the date of that lunch. Right? Now, I'd say you were a man who really enjoys his food, Mr. Cunningham.
Really?
Yeah. And do you remember what you had for hors d'oeuvre?
Well, I've had quite a few lunches since then.
Yes. Well, do you mind if I help? My client, you see, he remembers that lunch vividly. It seems that you started off with duck pâté, whereas the defendant Fischer, he had difficulty in making up his mind between seafood cocktail and lobster bisque.
Oh, that could be so, yes.
Yes, and my client, he had iced vichyssoise.
Possibly.
Yes. Did you have some wine with the first course?
Yes.
Yes. What sort of wine? I'm sorry, it's such a large cellar there. Perhaps you'd like a wine list, Mr. Cunningham.
Well, that could have been the Chablis. I often recommend that to my guests.
Chablis. It was Chablis. You know, your memory is really improving, Mr. Cunningham. Now, for the main course, you ordered what?
Steak and kidney pudding.
Steak and kidney pudding. And the defendant Fischer, he had a fillet, didn't he? Underdone.
I think it might have been a steak.
Yes, my client remembers him asking for it deep blue.
Yeah, something like that.
Yes, that's very rare, isn't it?
That's right.
Yes, very rare. And my client...
Mr.
he ordered...
Benham.
My lord.
Is this a cross-examination or a gastronomic discussion?
A little bit of both, my lord.
Don't make a meal of it, will you?
And my client ordered bœuf stroganoff.
Yeah, I think I might have recommended that.
Did you? You also recommended the wine with the main course, didn't you?
Yes, certainly.
Yes. Yes, that's right. My client seems to recall it being a Chateau Lafite 1949.
Nope.
Eh?
1947.
Oh, really? 1947. And over the main course, Mr. Cunningham, my client told you that he'd frequently had to go hungry during the course of the Lebanese fighting and that he was enjoying this meal more than he'd enjoyed any meal in his life for that very reason.
I don't remember that.
Oh. Well, you remember him saying that the Phalangist side in the Lebanon was in desperate need of weapons?
No, I really don't remember him saying that at all.
Oh. There's a problem here. See, you remember the duck pâté, the lobster bisque, the chablis? You even remember the year of the Chateau Lafite, 1947, but you don't remember a conversation with my client about a war in the Lebanon.
No, I do
You're
not.
a major arms manufacturer, Mr. Cunningham. My client was a buyer with a first-hand experience of a war. Are you really saying that you didn't discuss this war?
Well, it might have been referred to in passing, but no.
Well, let me remind you of something else that my client said. He said that many of his compatriots were starving because of the war, and the arms he was buying from you would help to put an end to that war and put an end to their starvation.
I'm sorry, I really don't remember that.
Mr. Cunningham, you forewent the sweet, and you had cheese.
Yes. Stilton.
And with your Stilton, you had some port.
Very likely.
Yes. Not unfortunately in 1927, but nevertheless you had
Mr.
some
Banham,
port. My lord.
You are taxing both my patience and my appetite. Will you please bring this to an end?
With the coffee, my lord. Mr. Cunningham, I must put it to you again, during the course of this long, clearly delicious and highly expensive lunch that my client talked freely about his role in the Lebanese war.
I knew that he was Lebanese, yes, but I was left with the impression that the arms were going to El Salvador.
What, impression? But you weren't so sure then?
Oh, I was quite sure, having seen the end-user certificate.
I must put it to you again, that you were fully aware, certainly by the end of this lunch, that my client was a member of the Phalangist organization in the Lebanon, that he told you so on several occasions, that the defendant Fischer ascribed to that fact, and that you were in no doubt at all.
That's not the case.
An arms manufacturer, a Lebanese citizen, and an agent meet for lunch at a time when the Lebanese war is at its height, and you say that you discussed that war very little. Mr. Cunningham, I find that very hard to believe, and I think that members of the jury will find that hard to believe.
We talked generally about world affairs, about business, state of my industry.
Talk about the order?
No, that had all been resolved in my office.
What, in 20 minutes?
Yes.
Yes, probably less than 20 minutes once the introductions had been made and the social formalities observed.
Probably, yes. I was satisfied that this was a proper order, and I was equally satisfied with the end-user certificate.
Deal with all your orders in this way, do you, Mr.
There was no reason to make a major analysis of the order. I knew that we had the weapons in stock, and I also knew that it was for the authorities, namely the Department of Trade, the Foreign Office, and the Ministry of Defense, to ensure that this was, in fact, a proper order. That is the procedure. I don't inquire into the antecedents of my buyers. That could lead to a bad relationship between buyer and seller. It could cost us valuable orders.
You leave it to the government.
I do it.
You leave the responsibility with them.
Most certainly.
You pass the buck, Mr. Cunningham.
I don't follow.
Mr. Banham,
No.
I've allowed you a great deal of leeway. I really can't continue. What are you trying to prove?
Well, I wish to prove, my lord, that the perfunctory nature of the interview between this witness and my client indicates something approaching evidence of collusion.
Well, the witness is not exactly bending to your will, Mr. Banham.
Well, the members of the jury may wish to place their own interpretation on what happened between this witness and my client, my lord.
Oh, very well. Go on if you wish.
Thank you, my lord. You see, what I'm suggesting to you, Mr. Cunningham, is that you don't mind being duped. Huh? Others carry the responsibility. Is that correct?
I've already answered your question.
Look, from my client's point of view, Mr. Cunningham, it's very important that you say whether or not you mind being duped as long as you've got a sale, and that sale's conducted under the powerful umbrella of Her Majesty's government.
Mr. Banham, is it your suggestion that Her Majesty's government colluded in this affair?
No, my lord.
Then what are you suggesting?
Well, my client's case, my lord, is that at every stage in this affair, he was led to believe, first by Mr. Fischer, later by Mr. Cunningham, that if he were to accept their advice and help, that inquiries conducted by Her Majesty's government wouldn't necessarily prove too stringent.
Yes, Mr. Banner, we've heard the suggestions you made during the course of your cross-examination of Mr. Madison. But you are not also suggesting, I sincerely trust, that any possible inadequacies on the part of individual inspectors was part and parcel of an overall government policy?
This is what my client was led to believe by Mr. Fischer and Mr. Cunningham.
Yes, Mr. Banner, tell me, are you going to produce any evidence that what your client was led to believe about the British government was actually true?
No, my lord.
You have no such evidence?
No, my lord.
Thank you, Mr.
Well, this
Banner.
doesn't mean that my client couldn't honestly have held this belief as a result of what he'd been told by Mr. Fischer, Mr. Cunningham.
Yes, all right, very well.
Thank you very much, my lord. Mr. Cunningham, you knew that my client was a Lebanese, didn't you?
Yes, I've already said that.
That's all right. I suggest that you knew not merely that he was a Lebanese, but you also knew that he was buying arms on behalf of an organization in the Lebanon, and that you deliberately led him to believe that he was doing so with the tacit approval of the British government.
You suggest quite wrongly, sir. This was a perfectly proper deal throughout. When I learned that my company's arms had got into the wrong hands, I was just as surprised and shocked as were the authorities.
Unless you have any more questions for Mr. Cunningham, my lord, that concludes the case for the prosecution.
Oh, good. I think this is an appropriate moment to adjourn for luncheon.
All right.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are Peter Fischer, and you live at Peel in the Isle of Man. Is that correct?
Yes.
You're a company director, and you deal mainly in commodities.
Yes.
You're successful in this field?
Yes.
And for that reason you live in the Isle of Man. There is, I understand, a low rate of taxation in that island.
Most certainly.
Now, Mr. Fischer, you deal in commodities. What kind of commodities?
Well, in almost every kind. I sell glass to Africa, cement to the Middle East, Land Rovers to Iran, building materials to South America, venison from Scotland to Holland.
When you say sell, what exactly do you mean?
No, I mean that I arrange the sale. I mean, I know, for instance, that there is a shortage of venison in Holland, and I know there is a surplus of venison in Scotland. I fix a sale.
It would not be unfair to call you a middleman, a fixer, indeed.
Well, I wouldn't blanch at such a description, no.
And you take a commission on these various deals?
And that's correct.
And that commission can vary from anything between what, Mr. Fischer?
Well, it depends a lot on the amount of the order, but generally between 0.5% and 3%.
The 5% which you obtained for this particular order, then, must have been very pleasing to you.
No, there is in arms dealing a tendency towards high commissions.
Why is that?
Well, because by and large weapons have a much longer life and there's not likely to be a reorder for some time. Well, several years indeed.
You didn't expect a reorder in this case?
No. El Salvador, well, to the best of my knowledge, had not been at war for many years, and there was no indication of any confrontation, or any reason indeed to assume that these arms would be wanted for aggressive purposes.
Mr. Fischer, do you travel a great deal?
Well, I work in London. I have offices in Paris and Brussels. Yes, I do travel a great deal.
You're well known.
I believe so.
Is it at all unusual for you to be contacted by strangers who have business propositions?
No, not in the least.
Now, would you tell the court how you came to meet Mr. Kamal?
Yes, I was in the bar at Blade's Hotel at the beginning of April. I was waiting for a friend. Mr. Kamal came up to me and asked if I was Peter Fischer. I said I was.
And then what?
Well, Kamal told me that he was buying arms on behalf of the government of El Salvador and that he'd been told that I could get him the best possible price. I made it quite clear to him that the law was stringent in Great Britain about the export of arms and that he would need the necessary documents.
You mean the end-user certificate?
Yes. Kamal told me that this was available and that he would have it for me the following morning.
You have heard the suggestion that you produced this document.
No, that's quite incorrect. There's no question of this. Kamal brought the document to me. It was on the basis of this document that I introduced him to Mr. Cunningham.
It was also on the basis of a highly satisfactory commission, was it not, Mr. Fischer?
Very much so, my lord, yes.
You had dealt with Mr. Cunningham before?
As I had, we'd met on various occasions, and I've brought 2 or 3 orders into his company.
2 or 3?
Yes. Smaller orders, more in the nature of £1 million or so.
These were legitimate orders, as you assumed this one?
Yes, they were orders from governments. I mean, in one case, a small African emergent state. In the other cases, they were both South American.
And they didn't end up in court?
No, sir.
As far as you were concerned, this was a proper transaction?
Entirely.
And you hadn't the slightest idea that these guns were going to the destination which it now appears they reached?
That is correct.
As far as you were concerned, you were simply making money and helping the national economic effort at the same time?
That is correct.
Mr. Fischer, you said, have you not, that you don't object. Indeed, you used the words, I wouldn't blanch, in your evidence in chief of being called a fixer.
Why should I be ashamed?
I'm asking the questions. You don't mind being called a fixer?
Well, if putting deals together on an international basis is fixing, then no, I don't object.
Yes, because the word fixer, it's got unfortunate connotations, hasn't it, Mr. Fischer?
Look, I am a trader. There is nothing dishonourable about being a trader or exporter. I mean, after all, we are a trading nation.
You talk about being a trader, but the word fixer was applied to you by your own counsel, and you didn't object. Indeed, I'd suggest you relished the name. All right, I'll put it this way. You came into the world as a fixer. You're a born fixer.
Well, put it whichever way you like.
Well, I'm putting it to you, Mr. Fischer, that as a fixer, it was you that fixed this deal. You knew that there were ways around the law governing the export of arms. Indeed, you were able to steer my client around those laws. See, what I'm suggesting to you, Mr. Fischer, is that you were the producer and director of an elaborate charade.
Charade?
Yes, a charade, Mr. Fischer, which included Mr. Cunningham and Mr. Merrison, indeed, as actors. A charade performed for the benefit of my client, for which you earned the princely sum of £175,000.
That's nonsense.
The cases in Fulchester are fictitious. The Queen against Kamal and Fischer will be concluded tomorrow in the Crown Court. Peter Fischer and Elias Kamal are charged with conspiring to export arms illegally from Britain. They've both pleaded not guilty. The jury in this trial has been selected from members of the public whose names appear on the electoral register and who are eligible for jury service. We rejoin the trial at the start of the 3rd day as Peter Fischer is being cross-examined by his co-defendant's counsel.
What impression did you have of my client when you first met him, Mr. Fischer?
I found him most agreeable. Most businesslike.
Indeed. He is, after all, a director of a highly successful bank, isn't he?
Yes, he said he was.
Yes, he produced a card to that effect. E.D. Kamal, director, the Chartered Oriental Bank, Beirut, Lebanon. Read that, did you?
Yes, I did.
Yes, you're aware that the Chartered Oriental Bank has assets exceeding £300 million.
I believe so.
Yes, and you'll have noted from the card that Mr. Kamal, as well as being a chartered accountant, is a fellow of the Institute of Bankers and a Bachelor of Science in Economics.
Well, I didn't look at the letters after his name. I just wanted to know who he was and what he did.
If you had looked, Mr. Fischer, you'd have realized that from the very start that you were dealing with a man of some substance and considerable intelligence who could hardly be described as a semi-illiterate Arab fresh in from the desert.
I said that he was very businesslike.
Indeed, Mr. Fischer, very businesslike, with impressive qualifications. What are your qualifications, Mr. Fischer? You a chartered accountant, right?
No, I hire accountants.
Do you? Member of any institute?
No, I don't believe in them.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Mr. Kamal, as I've said, is a Bachelor of Economics. So what are your educational qualifications, Mr. Fischer?
I have 4 O-levels.
4 O-levels. In what subjects?
Mathematics, English, French, and Scripture.
And Scripture. Yes. And you also served in Her Majesty's forces with equal distinction, I believe.
I was in the Air Force, yes.
Yes. Would you tell the court, please, what rank you achieved during the course of your service?
I was a corporal airfitter, so
Corporal
what?
airfitter.
Before my learned friend makes any more sarcastic remarks, my lord, I would point out to him that another man whose name will be known to his client was discharged from the RAF as an aircraftsman. I refer to Lawrence of Arabia.
Well, Mr. Fischer, why exactly do you think that my client should have come to you in the first place?
Well, I assumed he'd come to me because he thought he could get a better deal by acting through a third party.
He was a businessman, Mr. Fischer. A director of a company in the United States who were wholly concerned with the buying and selling of arms. Surely you must have thought it strange that he should come to you.
Well, quite honestly, when he made his initial approach, I thought he was looking for some kind of split commission. I was surprised when it didn't turn out that way.
You were aware from the very beginning, Mr. Fischer, that your co-defendant was in this country buying arms on behalf of an irregular army in the Lebanon, and that he'd been told that you were the man to fix the deal for it. Isn't that the case?
No, I deny completely. No, why would I need to break the law when everything was in order?
Well, I'm suggesting that everything wasn't in order. I'm suggesting that you had a very major incentive to make sure that things were in order, even to the point of forging a document.
But what incentive?
Well, I'd suggest that £175,000 is incentive enough, Mr. Fischer.
That was a proper commission.
Well, I'm suggesting it was a totally improper commission. It was obtained unlawfully and by completely improper means.
But I believe this to be a genuine certificate.
Well, I'd suggest that both you and Mr. Cunningham deserve Academy Awards after the way in which you were able to convince my client that what he was doing with the connivance of Her Majesty's government.
What do you mean?
My client believed everything you told him. Such was the quality of your histrionics.
Histrionics?
Yes. Play acting, Mr. Fischer. Play acting. No further questions.
Mr. Fischer, did you appreciate when Mr. Kamal approached you at Blade's Hotel that he was Lebanese?
Well, I can tell an Arab when I see one, yes.
Did it never occur to you, then, that this Arab might want these arms for the Middle East?
No, it did not. He mentioned El Salvador straight away. I mean, not all Arabs are fanatics, you know. There are a lot of them, businessmen like myself, who are just interested in earning a quiet living.
Tell me, have you ever had such a stroke of good luck before? I mean, a complete stranger approaches you about a very large order, and within a month the deal is done.
Yes, I think I have.
Involving an effortless profit of £175,000.
Well, not that much.
So the deal
no.
was unique?
If you like, yes.
Did you think it was a large order for El Salvador?
Well, I didn't know much about the military establishment over there.
Oh, really? Didn't you ask?
No.
You did not. It never occurred to you that you were now in a position to arrange regular supplies to this bona fide and valuable customer. Why not, Mr. Fischer?
Kamal told me that it was a one-off deal from the start.
And you accepted that?
Yes, I
You
did.
didn't ask him why?
No.
Are you asking this court to believe that?
That's the truth.
The lawyers.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
You are Elias Daniel Kamal.
Yes?
You're a Lebanese citizen, but currently detained in this country.
Yes,
And you're a Christian.
that's true.
Yes. Mr. Kamal, are you surprised to find yourself in an English court of law?
I am most certainly surprised
Why is that?
because I have committed no crime.
Now, would you outline the events which have led to your being in this court?
I'm a Lebanese citizen. My country has been, for most of its life, a peaceful country in which the two major communities lived side by side without conflict. Our constitution has allowed for a Christian president and a Muslim prime minister, and it worked very well.
until there was an influx of refugees from the Israeli-occupied Palestine.
I do not wish to hamper you in telling your story, Mr. Kamal, but I must ask you to try and avoid a long dissertation on the Lebanese conflict in this court.
My lord, if you'll bear with my client, I think you'll understand that what he has to say does have considerable bearing on his conduct and state of mind at the time of the alleged offence.
Oh, very well, Mr. Banner, very well.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, sir, if I sounded as though I was going to make a long speech. You must realize that, like most of my people, I feel very strongly in this matter.
I appreciate that, Mr. Kamal. You may continue.
The arrival of so many refugees, together with the considerably higher birth rate among the Muslim community, began to cause unrest and trouble. The unsettled political situation led to a limited civil war in 1957 and almost full war in 1958. This came to an end only when the Americans landed at the request of the Christian government.
Yes, and a full-scale civil war began in 1975.
That's true. The Muslim community took arms against the Christian minority, and street fighting began all over Beirut and other cities. There was, in the view of my people, a deliberate attempt either to split my country into two, or even worse, a genocide as a part of the Muslims.
Mr. Kamal, will you please come to the matter in hand, which is the offence with which you've been charged?
With respect, my lord, may I put one last question in this area to my client?
Very well.
Thank you. Mr. Kamal, were you under the impression that the whole of the Christian community was facing annihilation?
Yes, that's so. It's for that reason, and for that reason only, that we needed arms. I was a member of the Phalangist Party. At the beginning of this year, a meeting of the Phalangist leader instructed me to purchase arms.
Yes, and you came to Britain for them. Why was that?
This particular rifle had been widely advertised all over the world for its extremely good penetrating capacity. This is a very important factor in street fighting.
Yes, now you said, Mr. Kamal, that when you came to this country, you were desperate for arms. Is that right?
That's true, yes.
Yes, and you went to Fischer. Why was that?
My seniors in the Lebanon told me that Fischer would act in a kind of underground capacity for certain British manufacturers, and that I would find no difficulty in obtaining the arms because they were desperately for export orders and because Britain sympathized with the Phalangist Party.
Yes. Now, let me take you back to your meeting with Fischer. Now, you met in the Blades Hotel.
Yes.
Did you know he'd be there?
Yes. I had been told, he had been informed I was coming, and that he would be in the hotel lobby between 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock in the evening.
Yes. So you approached him?
Yes.
You told him who you were and what you wanted?
Yes.
Yes. What was the substance of the conversation between you, Mr. Kamal?
Fischer said that it was easy to get arms as long as we were prepared to go through what he called the ritual, as far as the British government was concerned. If we followed that ritual carefully, he could equip for me a complete infantry division.
He used a certain phrase, didn't he?
Yes, he said it was a matter of nudge, nudge, wink, wink,
yes, yes.
as far as the government was concerned. Mm-hmm. The Foreign Office would require to know that there was an end-user certificate, but that was usually sufficient.
Yes, how is this certificate obtained?
I do not know. Fischer said that he could arrange for the necessary documentation.
Yes, what did Fischer say to you about the role of universal arms?
He said it was important that I should keep up the pretense that these arms were really for El Salvador. Yet he did suggest that the universal arms were really aware where the arms are really going. I honestly believed it to be the case that the authorities needed a let-out, a cover story, should it be known that the arms had gone to the Lebanon.
But, Mr. Kamal, as we've already heard from your counsel, you have no evidence whatever that there was collusion on the part of the British government.
There was the British press.
The British press?
My lord, my client refers to a magazine article.
This article was sent to me in Beirut.
Yes, I'd like to read out the part which helped to convince my client.
Well, what exactly is this document?
Just a popular magazine, my lord.
Do I sense a little evasion, Mr. Banner? What magazine?
Private Eye, my lord.
A popular magazine?
In some quarters, my lord.
I suggest you proceed with a certain amount of caution.
Yes, my lord. My client isn't familiar with the reputation of this scurrilous broadsheet, my lord.
My brethren have frequently suffered at the hands of that journal. It has not always been factually accurate in the past, and it may well not be so in this instance.
I know that, my lord. The article refers to a shipment of spare parts for tanks, weapons and armoured cars from England to Jersey. Now, the significant part reads, and I quote, "The new crates were marked Grosvenor Industrial Engines, Johannesburg, and shipped off to Rotterdam. Why did the Ministry of Defence sanction such a large consignment of tanks to Jersey? Did the ministry know that they were going to South Africa? One suggestion made in court was that the tanks were for the Jersey Army, a suggestion that caused some merriment among Jersey residents in court who believed, rightly, that the island's army was confined to a couple of cannon."
Are you saying, Mr. Kamal, that on the basis of that report, you actually believed there were double standards of arms dealing in Britain?
Yes. It is, after all, a government publication.
Mr. Kamal, when this court adjourns, I suggest you have a quiet chat with your legal advisers.
Thank you, madam. So you arrived at Fulchester and you went directly to Universal Arms.
Yes.
So there you met Mr. Cunningham and you told him the nature of your order. What happened then?
He looked at the list of weapons I needed and made a telephone call to his sales manager. We talked for a little while, and then the telephone rang, and Mr. Cunningham told me then that the list of arms, he had got it in stock.
Yes, so the order was concluded there and then.
That was the case. Yeah. He told me that it would take a little while to get the license, but that the end-user certificate which I gave to him was completely in order. He saw no trouble.
Yes. And then you had lunch.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I won't take the court or his lordship through the delight of that lunch again, but during this lunch, what was discussed, Mr. Kamal?
We discussed the arms industry and the war. We discussed the possibility of war in Rhodesia and in various parts of the world. We talked mainly, though, about the Middle East and the war in the Lebanon.
Did you mention the case for the Phalangist side in the Lebanon?
Of course.
Did Mr. Cunningham himself make any observations about the Lebanon?
He said it was time that the Palestinian guerrillas were put in their place.
So what impression did you get of Mr. Cunningham's attitude to your order, Mr. Kamal?
I don't quite follow.
Well, I'll be more specific. As far as you were concerned, you were to say throughout, weren't you, that these arms were going to El Salvador?
Yes.
Yes, and you said so on several occasions.
Yes.
How did you react when you mentioned El Salvador?
I can't quite find the right word, but it means that we were being hypocritical.
You had the impression throughout, didn't you, that you were part of a ritual, part of a game in which you had to play a part which you clearly played very well.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Kamal. Just wait there, will you?
Mr. Kamal, it's normal practice, is it not, for a buyer in a strange country, and especially a buyer from the Middle East, and certainly someone who was buying a sensitive commodity such as arms, to go through a dealer?
Through an agent, yes.
Now, my client's case is that, as an agent, he did no more than to introduce you to Mr. Cunningham. And at that point, his role in this affair came to an end, apart from his obviously enjoying a very excellent lunch.
He also provided the end-user certificate.
Now, here, of course, we are at odds, Mr. Kamal. My client's case is that he did not provide the end-user certificate, but that, in fact, you provided it yourself.
Would you think I'd be in a position to obtain such a document here?
Well, no one suggested that you obtained it in this country, Mr. Kamal. The suggestion is that you obtained it, whether here or in the United States, where you've been doing business, or indeed in the Lebanon itself.
That's not true. It was Fischer who provided the certificate.
The truth is, Mr. Kamal, that you came to this country and deliberately sought out my client because you knew that he was able to put a deal together for you urgently. And it was this urgency that led to your forging, or having had forged, the end-user certificate, which is at the very center of this case.
No, definitely not. Your client said that the deal could be easily done just as long as the papers were available. It was he who arranged the forgery, and I'm certain that was done with the connivance of others.
Others?
Mr. Cunningham, for one. I don't know who else.
Mr. Kamal, I don't think it would be insulting to say that Arabic people delight in telling stories. They sit around their campfires at night and exchange stories.
As it happens, I was brought up in an air-conditioned apartment with a color television and a nanny. who taught me the stories of Christopher Robin, madam.
Mr. Kamal, I am referring to the story that you are trying to get this court to believe. That one of the biggest manufacturers of arms in this country conspired with your co-defendant to cheat the law. Now, that is a story straight out of 1001 Nights, Mr. Kamal.
You really ought to study your analogies, you know. The stories you refer to are Persian and not Arabic.
You also ask us to believe, Mr. Kamal, that the cooperation of the British government is part of your story as well.
After all that, I am prepared to believe anything about the British.
So it seems. You see, Mr. Kamal, the defence that you are putting forward would sound well coming from an illiterate who knew nothing of the ways of the world. But you are an educated man, and you know a great deal of the ways of the world, don't you, Mr. Kamal?
I know a great deal about the ways of the British.
Oh, come now, Mr. Kamal, you are an educated man. I put it to you that as an Arab, if you had approached Mr. Cunningham direct for arms for the Lebanon, you wouldn't have got them. The truth is that you needed an accomplice, a fixer, like Fischer, or you wouldn't have stood a chance of getting those arms.
It would have been more difficult, yes. This deal went through because Fischer provided the extra dressing on the salad, as he described it.
These constant references to food are becoming a trifle tiresome. Mr. Kamal, you and Fischer conspired together and arranged an illegal shipment of arms to the Lebanon. Unfortunately for you, you were found out. You were found out by Dr. Sharaf in circumstances entirely removed from this court. And now you blame everybody else and claim it was all due to some alleged British hypocrisy.
Now, madam, can you prove to me that British hypocrisy does not exist?
No, Mr. Kamal, because that is not what we are here to prove. We are here to prove that you were a knowing, willing, and clearly desperate partner in a conspiracy to break the law.
You, madam, are English, and I am Arab. You English see us Arabs as teeming Orientals. Your very word, wog, is based on the expression wily Oriental gentleman. I see you British in a similar light. So do most of us Arabs. A good many of the present-day troubles in the Middle East stem from British two-faces. It is a fact with which we have learned to live. You promised the Arabs Palestine, but you gave it to the Jews. But then that's history, a history which your country would never live down in the eyes of the wogs. It's for this reason that I believe this is a part of a plot.
Do you still believe, Mr. Kamal, that you are a victim of British hypocrisy?
Yes, sir.
But you knew you were committing a crime.
I knew we were bending the law somehow, but I believed I was bending the law with the help of Mr. Fischer and the connivance of Mr. Cunningham.
Bending the law, Mr. Kamal, is a very different thing from breaking the law. Did you know that you were breaking the law?
No, sir.
Mr. Kamal, I put it to you that there was no charade, no nudge, nudge, wink, wink, no turning of blind eyes in this matter. You and Fischer sat down and coolly, with deliberate forethought, arranged to cheat the law. Fischer for substantial reward, and you for the possibly better motive. That your compatriots needed those arms desperately.
That is entirely untrue.
Thank you, Mr. Kamal.
The defendants, Fischer and Kamal, are accused of conspiring together to commit an unlawful act, that is, to export arms without the license of the government. Now, Fischer says he's entirely innocent, that he was taken in by a forged document produced by Kamal. And Kamal maintains that it was Fischer who produced the forged end-user certificate. And the defense counsel for Kamal suggests that Mr. Merrison, a government servant, may be something perhaps a little more than an apparently inefficient inspector. And Mr. Kamal also says that he believes that the British government was prepared to turn a blind eye to the act. But no evidence has been produced to show that the British government was prepared to do any such thing. However, you must ask yourselves whether Kamal was prepared to believe all this. Now, each one blames the other. Was this because they were thieves who had fallen out? Or was it because one of them duped the other? And if so, which one? Now, these are matters for you to decide.
Will your foreman please stand? Just answer this question, yes or no. Have you reached a verdict on which you are all agreed?
No.
Members of the jury, you have each taken an oath to return a true verdict on the evidence given. And you have also, of course, got an individual duty as well as a collective duty. Now, to return a collective verdict, that is, the verdict of you all, involves a certain amount of argument, exchange of views, adjustment of views, in accordance with the oath with which you've taken. Now, will you please retire and consider your verdict?
Will your foreman please stand? Just answer this question, yes or no. Have at least 10 of you agreed on your verdict?
Yes.
Do you find the accused, Peter Fischer, guilty or not guilty of conspiracy?
Guilty.
Do you find the accused, Elias Kamal, guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Very well, Mr. Kamal, you may go. And I trust that in future you'll have a little more faith in British hypocrisy. Peter Fischer, you have been found guilty of a very serious offence. You have broken the law deliberately, purely for your own gain. The harm you've done can only be guessed at. You'll be fined £10,000 and go to prison for 3 years. Take him down.
The cases in Fulchester are fictitious. You can join us again when our cameras return to bring you another leading case in the Crown Court.